ahead. Okay, Shantae, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, thank you for joining us. Welcome to our very first Backbones Leadership Virtual event. Before we get started, I would like to introduce our SS team, our ASLS interpreters, Rissa Rojos and Dresden Lamar, Debbie Thompson, who will be providing live captions, also known as CARTs. If you would like to see captions, please find the closed captions icon and click on it. And, please be patient with us as we navigate through our technology, navigate through this technology. My name is Shantae Nelson. I am one of the leader program participants of 2020. I became paralyzed 4 years ago. My injury is a T4. At that time, I felt so alone and I was very depressed for like 2 to 2.5 years before I started going to my support groups. And as I was going through my support groups, I met a wonderful lady named Rebecca at Marion Joy Rehab. She came and spoke with the at the support group. And at that time, she informed me about backbones and the benefits of mentoring and the support system that Backbones offers. The Backbones Leadership Program started almost a year ago, and it has been quite a year, as we all know. 2020 has been quite the year for all of us. So tonight, we hope to give you the opportunity to learn more about the Backbones Leadership Program and what the participants have learned and how we have from other leaders and how we can help our community and the importance of leadership. There may be some of you out there watching and feeling like this might be a great program for you. I do agree. It was a very great program, and I have learned a lot. I started again a year ago, and as I have learned how to become a leader and how to advocate more for myself as far as being in a wheelchair. Sometimes it's hard for us to talk to doctors and to understand everything that they're speaking of and all of the terms that they use. So we have to learn how to advocate for ourselves and advocate for our community as far as voting, as far as getting things done to make our community more accessible for us in our wheelchairs. So Rebecca and I'm sorry, I would like to introduce our wonderful founder, executive CEO of the Backbones membership, Rebecca Torres.
Thank you, Shantae. Whoops, give me a second as there we go. Thank you, Shantae. And when we put together the application for this program and I saw that you applied, I was really happy to see that you were getting more involved in the organization. And it's been such a pleasure to see Shantae and others who have already been involved with Backbones, as well as new faces who we just met during this program. And it's been great to be able to interact with all the participants every month and during our sessions. All 10 participants are truly committed and just awesome people that we've gotten to know. And if you're not familiar with Backbones, I think I got, sorry about that. If you're not familiar with Backbones, we are an organization that started in 2009 with the goal of providing peer support and resources to people with spinal cord injuries and their families. And part of the reason why I started Backbones was because of my own experience as a young girl with a spinal cord injury. I had been in an accident and I hadn't met others like myself until many years later. And that made a very big difference in my confidence and in my drive to pursue the things that I thought that I couldn't do, and also some things that I was scared to do, such as going away to college or traveling to new places, and eventually living independently as well. And I know that I'm not the only one out there who have found it very difficult when we went home after rehab. And sorry, I'm making sure that, yeah, we're Spotlight. I'm making sure that ASL is visible. So yeah, like I was saying, I know that I'm not the only one that has felt like that, where going home right after rehabilitation, you don't know where to find support, you don't know where to find community, and it can feel very isolating and sometimes hopeless. So today I encourage a lot of newly injured people and people with disabilities to seek out others with disabilities and to find our people and to connect with our people and to find our community, because it really is something that's life-changing. Today, the Backbones mission is to help people connect with their communities in whatever form that may be. Sometimes that looks like finding peer support, and sometimes it's finding local resources or attending an event and making a new friend, sharing a tip. And there's many, many other ways that we can help people find connection. Backbones loves to host events, and we're glad that you joined us today. We host a lot of events and activities that are open and accessible to people with and without disabilities, to people of all abilities, because it's a great way to connect and to listen to each other's stories, to learn from each other, and to share our knowledge, because we all have something to offer. Some of the events that we've done in the past have included 5Ks, wine tastings, networking nights. We've done scavenger hunts, adaptive yoga workshops, integrated dance events, film festivals, art shows, sporting events, you name it. We have done a whole bunch of different types of events because obviously not everyone likes the same thing. And so if we have a variety of events, people can find something that is of interest and join us. We've done events in the Chicago area, also in Los Angeles, Atlanta, Portland, Nashville, in Miami, and we've been able to do this with the help of volunteers in the local communities and also partners and organizations in those communities. Unfortunately, during this pandemic, we have not been able to meet in person, but this has allowed us to focus on this program, on this Leaders Program, and to also focus on another program called Peer Connect, which is a monthly online peer group with a variety of different topics. And we've actually gotten really fun with them. We've had book discussions and film discussions, and we did an open mic night. And so we're trying to, now that everyone's needing to be at home and not being able to go out and social distance, finding ways of staying connected in a virtual way. So if you haven't gotten involved with Peer Connect, I encourage you to do so, and you can find more information on our website, which is backbonesonline.com. As Shante said, this year has been a difficult one for everyone, but especially, for the disability community. It really has brought to light a lot of issues, but it's also been an important year. 2020 marked the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And, a lot of work went into passing the ADA. And it's been 30 years since it passed, and a lot of work has been, a lot of people have worked and really moved the needle forward. But I will say that in my opinion, there's still a lot of work to be done. And sometimes it feels like not enough has been done, or that it's not fast enough. And I believe that part of the reason for that is because a lot of times decisions are made for us, but without us. And that needs to change. So people with disabilities, we need to be a part of every aspect of society, and we need to be included because disability intersects with all other identities. So it's important that for us as people with disabilities, that we act with leadership and that we hold leadership positions. What we have learned this year is that leadership can look different for different people. For some, it might look like running for office. For other people, they might go out there and protest and get arrested a lot. For others, it's writing a letter or an email or posting a video or meeting with a decision maker. Others, it's creating art or music that changes people's minds, or the simple but powerful act of self-care, taking care of ourselves and our bodies and our minds so that we can have the energy and be in a space to be able to take care of others. And that is something that I think all of our leaders, including the program coordinator and myself, learned this year in this program. This group has come together to learn skills, to build community. And today it kind of feels like a graduation. Like I'm gonna tell you guys all the places you'll go. But I know I'm excited for all of you to meet them today. And before I introduce Jen Wolf, the program coordinator, I'd like to ask Butch Brosman to turn on his camera really quick. Hi, Butch.
Yeah.
Butch is one of our participants, also from Georgia. He is a musician, and he is involved with ADAPT, which is a national advocacy group, and he is also a talented balloon artist. Throughout the year during our meetings and our sessions, Butch has been he's attended every single one, and he's been participating and listening. but he's also been creating some balloon art. And so during our sessions, he kind of starts off with some balloon art, and at the end, he has some wonderful masterpiece for us to look at. So we're going to do that today too. So we'll check in with you later, Butch. Thank you. All right. And next, I'd like to introduce Jen Wolf. Jen Wolf, the fantastic program coordinator. I have known Jen since, I don't know how long ago. It's been many, many years, but we met at the Abilities Expo when she was doing some advocacy work with United Spinal and Users First. And we have kept in touch along the way. And when we were going to start this program, Jen jumped on board and has been really great person to do this. Her work as a disability advocate has brought a lot to this program, and I'm honored to have worked with you on this. And thank you, my dear friend. And I will go away and let you share with us a little more about the program.
Spiel about the program. It's funny that you bring up Users First. I recycled paper today. And yes, it's backwards, but it's the Users First logo. Little bit of disability history that's omitted sometimes. Anyway, thank you so much, Rebecca. This has been just an amazing experience, an amazing group of people to work with, both from participants to speakers to backbones. Quick visual description. I am a white female wearing black frame glasses, chin length, purple tinted hair, and a black t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt with backbones on it, which is backwards because of my camera. And I am sitting in my bedroom or my office space. When Rebecca started talking about the leadership program, I was really thrilled that something like this was evolving and that it was coming from Backbones, because there aren't that many disability-led nonprofits. And it's just, like Rebecca said, having leaders, seeing yourself in leadership positions just is such a great vision. The number is growing, which is really, really exciting though. So when she said she was looking for help as a coordinator for this, I just was really, really excited because although I'm an occupational therapist by trade, I'm really transitioning into community organizing and community development. And so this was just a really neat experience to kind of work on that level of skill, because it is a different leadership skill, that one that I had not really done before. And not only that, but Backbones has such a great reputation and does such unique events that it was just really exciting to be part of Backbones. The leadership program itself evolved out of a great idea to create space, time, and dialogue between community members who are interested in community building and leadership. This aligns with the Backbones mission, connecting the spinal cord injury and disability community by creating events and experiences that promote awareness and engage people of all abilities. The 11 participants, and I'm going to put in parentheses, one had to leave the program due to her work schedule shifting to second shift, which is, we really miss Maritza, were chosen because they were already showing signs of leadership in their applications and videos. I have to say that one of the best things in working with this program is the people themselves, each of who are trying to make their lives and their communities a little bit better in big or small ways. Sometimes just showing up is an act of resistance, or as I've heard in other disability justice areas, that existence is resistance. uh, it's really been an honor, and I have a feeling that we'll be keeping in touch long after this. But to tell you a little bit more about the program, we had topic areas every month and great speakers, and you'll be meeting a few of them later on in the show. We started off with self-advocacy. Michael Penniman, who is the COO of creating his own care attendant program at the University of Iowa, and Lindsay Becker from Meant to Be Lindsay B, who talked a lot about her journey being a self-advocate for herself in healthcare. And I think most of us have a little bit of experience in that, but it's important to learn even more skills if at all possible. Self-care was the next one, which is so essential these days, whether you're a leader, whether you're in advocacy. You can get burnout really, really easy with how devastating a lot of the policies currently are. A lot needs to be, it is very difficult work. Self-care is essential, and we really wanted to emphasize that early on. We had Meg, who gave us 5 tips for living healthy as a wheelchair user as a bonus. Barbara Kornblau, an OT and lawyer, spoke about chronic pain, which many of us live with and need to learn skills to live better with that. And I got to share a little tidbits on resilience and mindfulness that I've learned. The next one was community advocacy with Brooke McCall from United Spinal. And you'll get to meet her later on. She talked a lot about the systems change, the working collectively. And there is a great toolkit on United Spinal's website for an advocacy toolkit that you should check out. I'll try to put a link in the chat for that. Next, we had 2 months where we did storytelling, public speaking, and Ariana Nikaitis from Crystal Clear Communications did a presentation on hook your audience in 7 seconds. And I think we each took away things from that. And then we had to create our own stories from that. So you actually put what was learned into practice. Next was our fearless leader, Rebecca, talking about event planning because she does event planning so well. Then we had social media, and we were so happy to have Clark Matthews from Rooted in Rights come talk about accessibility of websites and technology, as well as how to utilize social media more effectively. Between the months, we provided funds. We provided the PDF of the Skin, Teeth, and Bones Disability Justice Primer from Sins Invalid to each of our participants. I think the 10 disability justice principles are something we should all be learning about and practicing. And to connect with that, we had the amazing Letitia Doucette, who just started her new consulting business, Catalyst Consulting, and has her own mindset journal, which also I'm going to do a little promotion of. It's the Disability Justice Mindset Journal. And I have not had the time to start working on it, but I can't wait to get at it because she's just so knowledgeable of, she's had the lived experience that many of us haven't, and just speaks so eloquently that it was very meaningful, especially in this year where there's been so much racial injustice. And then last month we had Nakia Green, who also spoke at the intersection of Black and disabled. And she talked on conflict resolution, which is a very important piece when you're trying to become a leader or community builder. So that's a little bit about what we learned together, the lessons that were learned from the whole experience. Although we planned to have it all virtually, we were planning to allow funds for people to have live events, go to workshops and conventions, and that just, everything closed down. And so this virtual event is what happened out of that. And then Rebecca had the wonderful idea of using the funds for professional development. So we've had people take life coaching. We've had, Butch, you'll have to tell what class it is because I cannot remember right offhand. Some electronics and things that were needed, grant writing classes. So it's really going to be fun to see what all these wonderful participants do with those skills that they've gained. Second, probably a more important lesson is that we kind of jumped, this was new for us too. We jumped right into the content and didn't really spend enough time or hardly any time at all in the community building and learning about each other first, which probably would have helped conversations a little bit earlier. About 6 months in, we were good. We were plugging away, but it would have helped with conversations a little bit earlier. And Peter had the great idea of adding happy hours. So I think those two things will have more icebreakers at the beginning in 2021 and more happy hours in between, just to have downtime and to connect with each other. We had the idea of skill building activities that could be done between meetings, and that was kind of a 50-50, and I'm looking forward to people's responses in the post-program survey to get input on the usefulness of those. And not sure if everything in the pandemic just it was too much, so that might have been part of it too. This year has been hard for everyone. The program and the people in it in all levels, speakers, participants, backbones, Rebecca, helped keep a focus, gave me new friends, new allies, a new network in a world where it's easy to feel alone. And Backbones is really community building at its best. And I'm very proud to be part of this first program. But now I am so honored and pleased that Rebecca Coakley is able to join us tonight to give a short keynote on leadership in the disability community. For those of you who don't know about her, you should follow her and her husband on Twitter. She is the founding director of the Center for American Progress Disability Justice Initiative, the first disability policy project to be housed inside the major national progressive organization. From 2013 to 17, she served as executive director to the National Council on Disability and advised Congress and the White House on issues on national disability public policy. And it goes on and on and on. She is a Rockwood Leading from the Inside Out Fellow, and she is the proud spouse of Patrick and mother of 3 amazing children, and is currently working on her first 2 books. Rebecca.
Yes, I am here.
Wonderful. I'm going to turn my video off and let you take over.
Thank you so much, Jen. It's so wonderful to be here. I want to thank everyone and have my own little fangirl moment for Rebecca Torres, who I have been a huge fangirl of for forever. It is so nice to share space with all of you tonight. Just some quick description. I am a redheaded little person. I am wearing a cheetah print sweater dress that my husband tells me looks like a onesie, but it's not. I refuse to agree with him on that. And silver jewelry. I'm wearing blue screen glasses that I may or may not take on or off. I've been fighting migraines for the last couple of days. And so they help when I'm looking at screens all day. I'm sitting in my living room in Washington, D.C. On land that originally belonged to the Anacostan people before it was colonized. This year's been a lot. 2020 has been the most 2020 year of all 2020s is pretty much what I'd like to say on that. Between pandemics, recessions, the election, attacks on the ADA, attacks on the Affordable Care Act, attacks on things that disabled people need to live and thrive in our communities. It's been really rough. I had joked with some friends recently at my office that the next thing that I expected to see was self-driving Zambonis on fire, which Zambonis are those machines that clear the ice skating rink. And then what do you know, this last weekend, there was a video of a Zamboni that caught fire and was driving itself across the ice skating rink. So anything can happen. That said, it's, it is weird doing this work in virtual space and not being there present with all of you, not feeling all your energy. So I'm going to ask that you all do what you need to do to feel present in this virtual space. This is my second to last event of the night. I have to live tweet the presidential, debate after this. And so I'm not going to lie, my energy hasn't been high. So before I came into this room, I was, you'll notice that I had my camera off and I was sitting here dancing to Beyonce and Rihanna because I needed to get my energy pumped. So what I'm going to do, and y'all can join me in it, is I'm going to take like 2 deep breaths just to get us centered before we start it, and hope that my 2-year-old who's in the other room will decide not to join us. So 2 deep breaths. That feels better for me. Hope it feels better for y'all. So I grew up, well, I guess what I would say, if I could sum up my remarks in one title, it would be your leadership path is going to be different than everyone else's. So make it amazing, make it awesome. I grew up in the Bay Area. I live in Washington, D.C. now, but I grew up just south of San Francisco Airport. And both of my parents were little people, also like me. And that's kind of unique for the disability rights community. 80% of folks with disabilities grow up in households. Sorry, let me grab my chair actually. 80% of folks with disabilities grow up in households where there's nobody like them. And my family was sort of the opposite. Disability rights was the family business. My dad became paralyzed when I was 1.5 years. And he ran a center for independent living. And my mom ran a disabled student center at a community college. And growing up in the Bay Area at sort of the back end of the independent living movement also meant that I grew up in the Bay Area at the beginning of the AIDS outbreak. And so my parents had a number of friends and chosen family members who were impacted by AIDS and HIV. And I remember really clearly when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, wanting to go to the ice skating rink with my parents. It was a Saturday, we didn't have school. And I wanted to go ice skating. And my parents said no, because we had to go to a funeral. And I remember being frustrated because I swear it must have been like the 15th or 20th funeral that we had been to. And when you're 6, going to funerals is not fun. You want to go ice skating. And I remember asking my parents, I remember getting very upset. And I remember asking my parents why we had to go to another funeral. And my parents were very open and said, it's because nobody deserves to die alone. Nobody deserves to be abandoned by their family, their friends, or their loved ones because of a disability. And that it's important for us to show up for folks in other spaces and in other movements. And so that was our family's value. That was the notion of interdependence was at the core of everything I was raised in. I literally wrote into the disability rights movement on the back of my dad's power chair when I was about 5 or 6. I remember going to rallies all the time. I remember when the ADA was signed in 1990, I remember my mom being really excited. And at that point in time, my parents had actually separated and divorced. But I remember both of them actively talking about the impact that it would have for our community, for all the communities that represented the larger disability community. And thinking about, what it would mean for some of my mom's students who were blind and used Braille, thinking about what it would mean for friends of ours that had cerebral palsy and may use a communication board to talk. And, my 11-year-old brain thought that it would happen overnight, and that all of a sudden the next day we would be able to go everywhere and there would be curb cuts, and that there would be Braille menus at our favorite restaurants, and captioning would be everywhere. And now looking back on that, 30 plus years later, I realize it takes a lot longer than we expect a lot of times to get the progress that we need. My dream was to always go to law school. I'm not going to lie, from the time that I was a little kid, I got really into this show that was really popular in the 1980s called LA Law. And my mom went back to school to get her master's degree when I was a kid. And I got to stay up late Thursday nights waiting for her to come home. And LA Law was on at 10 o'clock. So I could put on my pajamas and sit on my couch at my grandparents' house and watch LA Law with my grandma while we were waiting for my mom to come home from class. And I saw these civil rights attorneys on the show. And there was a civil rights attorney that was a little person. And it blew me away. I think it was really honestly the first time I saw myself on TV. And he was powerful. He was smart. He was savvy. He was underestimated everywhere he went. He dealt with so much ableism. And I remember being really excited about it. And my mom telling me that he was based after a friend of ours, a civil rights attorney named Paul Miller, who was based in Los Angeles, but was apparently going to go work for President Bill Clinton in the government, which he did, which was pretty amazing. But the deal is I didn't make it to law school. I graduated college at the University of California, Santa Cruz. I tried and I tried and I tried to get into law school, and I repeatedly, epically bombed the law school entrance exam. And you might notice I have now been joined by my 2-year-old, Kendrick, who is here behind me. We are hoping he does not stick around long, at least in this room, but we shall see. We will play with this as it goes. And so I realized that law school was probably not going to work out for me. Santa Cruz also in itself wasn't my first choice. My first choice, so I wanted to go to Berkeley, to the home of the disability community. And I got into Santa Cruz and I got a full scholarship. And my mom, who was saddled with a ton of college debt, made it abundantly clear to me at the time that I would be going to Santa Cruz and I wouldn't regret it, when I got to the point where I had to start paying off student loans. And so while, law school very much did not seem like it was in the cards for me at that point in time, after I graduated college, I got two very different jobs. And I think they sort of exemplify sort of the path that I've taken in the disability community. The first was I started working for my local congressman, Congressman Tom Lantos, who was the only member of Congress that was a Holocaust survivor. He actually lost all of his family in Auschwitz. And his wife lost all of her family in one of the other camps, and they met shortly afterwards. And working for someone who was such a champion of human rights was really exciting and gave me a lot to learn in that role. At the same time that I was working for him, and I should note, when I started working for him, he was actually working on the original draft for the UN Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities. And I started out as a lowly intern, and interns are never lowly, so I shouldn't say that. I started out as an intern, and I was the only person in the office that was really excited about this UN CRPD he was working on. And so he actually gave it to me to work on for him. And so I was the only intern in the office that actually had a policy portfolio and actually had regular meeting times with the congressman, because this was something he cared a lot about. At the same time that I was working for him, because interns don't make a lot of money, I also got a job working for Victoria's Secret. And so I worked retail for 5 years, moving my way up in the corporation until the next choice for me would have been to move to Ohio. And I really didn't want to live in Ohio. But it was really interesting because having those two jobs and still doing disability advocacy work through groups like the National Youth Leadership Network and the State Youth Leadership Forum, I used to get a lot of hate from people in the disability community that were like, well, if you're not working only in the disability space, your work doesn't really matter. But having the skills to navigate a congressional office and learning how Congress works, and the retail job, which people like to laugh about, and yeah, it's funny, I sold lingerie. It was awesome. I learned how to talk to anyone. I have no shame in talking about pretty much anything. And I am not shy when it comes to engaging with folks. And it's actually come in extremely handy through my disability policy work. I moved to DC in 2004. I was tired of working retail. It's exhausting being on your feet for 10 to 12 hours a day. And like I said, I didn't want to move to Ohio. And so I moved to DC to work for an education policy nonprofit and to work for the John Kerry presidential campaign, which was also a failure. And I think it's important to have experiences in life that don't always work out the way that you thought that they would. I learned a lot. I made some great friends and people that I still stay in touch and work with today. And I honestly think that every person with a disability should go work on a campaign at some point in time, unless it's, you're the person running. And then I'd say, yeah, run for office. But it was a really important experience to be able to see like what that actually looks like on the ground. That same year in 2004, one of my mentors, Paul Miller, who was the gentleman that the character on LA Law was based off of, invited me to an event he was going to. That was a $20 a person event to hear a young senator from the state of Illinois speak. Can you please be quiet, young man? Sorry, that was my 2-year-old again. And it ended up being a reception for State Senator Barack Obama. And it was before he had given the speech at the Democratic convention, so he was still relatively unknown. And I remember going to this roof deck at 101 Constitution Avenue and literally bumping into the future president of the United States' daughters who were playing tag at the fundraiser. And they ran into me, a little person. And as you know, as a person with a disability, when kids see you, they tend to have one of several reactions. And his kids were pretty surprised. And it was really cool. He actually walked up and was like, hey, girls, have you met our new guest? And he was like, hi, I'm Barack. What's your name? And I was like, hi, I'm Rebecca. And he's like, Sasha, Malia, this is Rebecca. Say hi. And, their mouths were kind of open. And he was like, say hello. And he's like, Rebecca's a little person. She's here for Daddy's fundraiser. And just the candor with which he handled that situation really blew me away. And I told myself that I wanted to watch his work and watch it grow. And I did. And while a lot of people that I knew at the time signed on to work for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, I was committed from day one to Senator Obama, then Senator Obama. And because he was so new to so many in the disability community, it actually gave me a huge opportunity. I was able to move up through the campaign a lot. I ended up becoming the head of disability social media. Frankly, because I asked all the older people on the campaign who was managing their MySpace page, which was the predecessor of Facebook. And they were all terrified of social media. And so they literally were like, here, you can direct it. You can be our director of social media. And so it was really incredible to have sort of a foot in the door in that space. And it eventually opened the way for me to end up in the White House. And I got to serve as President Obama's chief diversity officer in the first term. And so I got to recruit over 3,000 people, including folks from racially diverse, gender, let's see what I handle, race, gender, disability, LGBT, veterans, and recent college graduates for jobs in the Obama administration. And I got to use the opportunity to also push back on a lot of these groups. So I got to say to the disability community when they would send me candidates and they were all white people, where are your disabled people of color? Where are your LGBT folks? I could say to groups like the NAACP or the Urban League, this is great. Are there disabled people in here? Are there LGBT people in here? Are there veterans in here? And really be able to drive an agenda using the power of the White House that not a lot of people were thinking about, but it actually really changed things. And honestly, had I gone to law school, I would have been in law school at the time, studying to take the bar at the time that I was in the White House. So it's important to think about the fact that your path could go in any real direction. Fast forward to today, and I have a wonderful job now. I work at the Center for American Progress on an initiative that has never existed before. After the Obama administration wrapped up and Trump won office, I took the summer off and I did absolutely nothing. I watched a lot of bad TV and was supposed to start writing my books, and I hadn't yet. And so I ended up thinking about what would it look like to build policy and not rights, because disability justice is not rights centered, what would it be like to build a policy narrative around the 10 values of disability justice? And I got to do a lot of great work with people like Stacy Park Milburn, who had been a friend of mine for years, and a number of other leaders and thought leaders in the space. And we started shopping this idea to a number of different progressive organizations, and everyone turned us down, except for Neera Tanden, who runs the Center for American Progress. And this was right after the 2017 protests around the Affordable Care Act. And Neera's response was, well, why isn't there a shop like this? Why isn't the progressive community committed to the values of the disability community? What do we have to do to get disabled activists supportive of our issues? And like, how can we work together and build something different? And so that's what we've done these last 3 years. And we've seen things change. Probably the coolest thing that I've seen happen is this last year we had 12 presidential candidates write disability platforms or include disability priorities in their work. We hosted Twitter town halls with Senator Elizabeth Warren, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, and Secretary Julian Castro. We have watched 2 members of Congress come out as disabled women, both Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley from Massachusetts and Congresswoman Katie Porter from Los Angeles are both out as proud members of what they call themselves as the ADA generation of Congress. And so we are seeing things change. And to me, that's really powerful. And none of that would have happened if I would have taken the path that I would have traditionally thought I needed to take. Had I gone to law school, had I, gone to work at a law firm somewhere and shuffled paper or whatever. And so I really want to encourage you, and you heard a little bit of this from Jen and from some other folks as well, that the key is that you do what you love and that you really enjoy the heck out of it. If you want to be a chef, if you're like, I don't want to do disability advocacy, I want to be a chef, you better have an accessible restaurant. But other than that, all I care about is that you're happy as a chef. Like, go out there, enjoy it, knock it out of the park. Have like the best actual real sourdough bread available, and I will be there every night. To be a leader in the disability space doesn't mean working necessarily in disability advocacy. You're an advocate by just living your life and making the path smoother, making the door wider, creating the foundation for those that come behind you. And I look forward to hearing from all of you. I look forward to seeing what all of you do next. And, programs like Backbones are really critical. They are the backbone of our community. We need more programs like this to help support the next generation of leaders coming up. And, I am here to cheer you on as you figure out what path your own will take. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us and sharing the realness of how leadership happens. It happens in many, many different ways. So really excited to have Rebecca Coakley with us tonight. We are going to jump into a panel with our first 3 participants. So if Jesse and Peter and Kebra can turn on their screens. And I'm going to turn mine off and just be a voice in the background.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
And I was on mute because I did that instead of video. The wonderfulness of virtual. What I'm going to do is introduce each one of you and just ask that pointed question so you know what order it is. Peter, I'd love you to talk a little bit about yourself and how working in corporate America as a wheelchair user has impacted your life and leadership.
Sure. Hi there, everyone. As Jen said, I'm Peter. I grew up in a northwestern suburb of Chicago called Hoffman Estates, but live in a town or a city called Geneva, about 40 miles west of the city. I like to say that's where all the good horses go to die, but just kidding. It's a great little city to be in. Thinking about I guess corporate America. I've been working at the same organization for the last 20 years, both before I was in a wheelchair and after. So, I work at a bank in their investment arm and currently manage different investment and trading teams. Um, I manage teams based in Chicago, London, and Bangalore. I love what I do, and I always knew that even after my accident, that I would be returning to work and continuing to, hopefully advance my career. I've been very fortunate to have the role and responsibilities that I have, but it came with a lot of hard work, and I'll share with you, it wasn't necessarily an easy transition after I had my spinal cord injury. Um, Truth of it is, you really need to, retrain your brain to, I guess, reframe every situation. You can really come up with a million different reasons why, you can't do something, but, you need to think of it as problem solving with these barriers. People that are disabled have a really great skill set, and they can have great careers because of this unique skill set that we've been mastering, and that's being problem solvers. We do that every single day, and it becomes instinct at some point. Just being able to look through things with a different lens. And so, I think that's just an incredibly valuable skill. And I really do believe that it's going to be in high demand, especially in, as industries need to problem solve, how to navigate the current pandemic that we're all experiencing. So, going to corporate America and being disabled is, there's certainly a bright future if you can, really market that skill set of problem solving. And, again, just ourselves demonstrating that, we have just great opportunities just from the experiences that we have. And it makes, a diverse workplace, and it enhances the workplace.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Peter. I really do think each person in here, their lived experience is showing leadership alone. But on to Miss Kebra Moore. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how a little bit about your experiences in the music industry and how you maybe might see leadership skills?
Hi, my name is Kebra Moore. I am currently in Granbury, Texas, is outside of Dallas, Fort Worth area. So I pretty much was in a car accident, and on Christmas Eve of '99, I have a T12 incomplete injury. And a few years after my accident, I started singing and writing music and performing. And one thing I can say about someone in a wheelchair in the music industry is very hard. For one, people judge you before they even, get to hear you or get to know your story. And so I just, in some things I found a little discriminatory, just in areas where, I've been in a situation one time where I was at this church and I was getting ready to sing. And instead of me, getting in my wheelchair and rolling up to the front of the church to sing, the person wanted me to just sit in the chair and give me the mic. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go in front of the church like everybody else and sing and, and praise the Lord. And so it's just really hard because people don't understand that just because you're in a wheelchair or you have a disability doesn't mean that you not able to do the same things everybody else can do. You know, I've done a video, one of my songs called Never Let It Go, and I wanted to incorporate other women and other people in wheelchairs in the video, and that's what I did because I wanted people to see that just because you have individual with disability or they can't walk or whatever the disability is, doesn't mean that we can't do the same things that you can do. And so, but I've learned through the years how to just navigate my disability when it comes for me going places. You know, we make sure that the place is accessible. We make sure that the hotel is accessible. We make sure that that the stage have a ramp, or if it doesn't have a ramp, what are you going to do? So through the years, I've just learned to just learn how to just go with the flow, I should say.
Thank you so much, Kebra. Jesse, you are going to school for politics and public policy. How do you think your leadership skills will impact the change that you would like to see?
Thank you, Jen. Hi, everybody. My name is Jesse. I am wearing a black t-shirt. I have a full beard, dark beard, and I'm wearing a beanie. To answer Jen's question, I am going to school for political science and hopefully a master's in public policy. And I believe that leadership is a very important quality, which I am learning and plan to take on with my pursuit of an advocacy career, especially the world of politics. For me, leadership is defined by two qualities: your ability to listen and your ability to inspire others. And what I'm learning here is an ability to listen, an ability to understand that my view and my lived experience as a disabled person is just that, my lived experience. I have learned so much from just the people I've been participating with in this program and the people I've met throughout my life, especially when I was in Berkeley. Listening to them is essential. If you're going to lead a group of people, you must be able to listen to the needs of who you're leading. That takes me to my other important quality is inspire. So many of these people in this organization have such inspiring stories. They know how to take what they've lived through and to catch the attention of others. I've seen moments within myself and other people where the right words and the right actions speak volumes for getting stuff done. For me, I'm planning on taking those two important qualities and implementing them in my career, in my pursuit of disability advocacy, and making sure that disabled voices are heard and that there are disabled leaders out there to make sure that disability isn't more just than a passing policy requirements. Disability needs to be access to society needs to be instituted throughout everywhere. People with disabilities need to be able to access and lead other people to get the change we need. I'm really excited to work with this group, and I plan on using my knowledge and my pursuit of public policy to achieve these goals.
Thank you, Jesse. Moving on to Miss Lutisha Doucette, who is the owner of Catalyst Consulting, an evidence-based intersectional equity and inclusion partner for nonprofits, municipalities, and small business seeking to jumpstart rethinking their ethos through training, guides, and support resources. Lutisha, what message do you have for the masses?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Backbones, for having me. I'm Lutashandre Doucette, and a little bit of a description because my outfit is actually kind of fierce today. So I have on a wonderful copper head wrap, kind of in a flower thingy bobber, I guess. I'm a honey skin Black woman, as well as wearing a houndstooth sweater, wonderful crystal chain earrings, and a kind of cognac blingy blingy on my neck, and a wonderful studded Jaguar cuff on my arm. So that's me, Sassy Jones, y'all. So really want to think about and riff off of what Rebecca had said earlier, and that honestly, leadership can happen exactly where you are. That you don't really need to go anywhere, but now that we are in this digital space, you can literally go anywhere around the world. But that leadership happens within yourself, within your family, within your circle, within your community. But that it always starts with you first. And that many of us have come upon leadership in various paths, right? And that no two journeys are the same. And yet here we are in this moment together, moving forward for what we know is right and good for us. So therefore, I just want to say, anyone can be a leader, whether you are a stay-at-home mom or dad, or however you want to identify, or even if you are that chef, right? Chef means chief, it means to lead, right? So lead on, lead proud, and be proud of who you are as a disabled individual. So that's what I have for everyone. And I want to thank all the participants. I'm so proud of you. Please stay in touch, because I know that y'all are great leaders, and I cannot wait to see where you're going to be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. I'm 35 years into this spinal cord injury life, so I can't wait till you get to where I am in that kind of journey. And wherever you are, however you are, thank you so much for your leadership.
You're just amazing. Thank you so much for joining us and being part of it. And we are going to pass it right along to Blake Perkins, our singer who is singing original song, Waking Up in the City.
Thanks for having me. It's a song that brings me peace. That's really all there is to it. And we could all use a little bit more of that this year. The sunrise greets me in the morning, along with sirens and screeching tires. I rise and head into the jungle, made of concrete, crooked mines. Then my mind slips away as I sit in standstill traffic on the interstate. Then I drift off to the side of the hill, little house me and my family built. Hear my music on the radio, kiss my girl and hold her close. Watch the sunset just above my land. My neighbors are my best friends. Yes, I'm country back road dreaming, waking up in the city. I remember sleeping on a hillside where the fireflies roam. Just a teenage boy by my mother's side. We'd watch the sunshine lift morning dew to cloudless blue skies. And still I'd wonder why. Said, Why are we so far away? I feel so out of place. There's nothing much to do. She said, you'll remember this one day. If you're anything like me, you're running around will only make you drift off to the side of the hill. Little house me and my family build. Hear my music on the radio. Kiss my girl, hold her close. Watch the sunset just above my land. My neighbors and my best friend. Yes, I'm country back road dreaming. Waking up in the city. Yeah, yeah, Thank you.
Sorry for the delay, everyone. Thank you so much, Blake. I really appreciate you joining us and singing that beautiful song. Just a little bit about Blake. Blake is also a person with a spinal cord injury, a amazing singer, songwriter, also a physical therapist, and a dear friend as well. He was one of our ambassadors for our program a couple years ago, and that ambassador program was actually what led to this leadership program. You know, with some of the feedback from both Blake and one of the other ambassadors, which you will also meet a little bit later. You know, that this program was born from that. So again, thank you, Blake, and it's great that you joined us today. I'd like to invite a couple people to join us now. Diana, Victor, and Butch. If you can turn on your cameras. And it's gonna take me a little bit to spotlight. So we have Diana and Victor and Butch. Can you turn your camera on, please? Okay. And I'm going to remove my spotlight. So I'd love to, you know, these are 3 other of the participants of the program, and I'm just going to ask some quick questions so people get to know you. Diana, I'd love to start with you. You know, part of the program, the Leaders Program, the participants were able to request funds for development and to learn for to fund development opportunities. You chose to enroll in a program. Can you tell us a little bit about the key points of the program and how that's helped you?
Yes, thank you, Rebecca. My name's Diana Ashworth. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I now live in Kingston. I enrolled, and my favorite part about the program, I'll just say that first, was the interaction and bonding with the other fellow leaders and the community feeling that you get. Because with a spinal cord injury, sometimes you feel alone, don't know where to go, you know, and this was just a great thing to learn about leadership, learn from different speakers and learn from each other. So that's what I enjoyed the most. But I enrolled in a John Maxwell. Some of you may have heard of him. It's a coaching program, and he has different online courses you can take, and you can also be a certified coach through him. I chose 7 courses, and they were all centered around leadership. And what I learned from them was finding the leadership skills within myself, because you hear leadership and you're like, okay, yeah, you think you know what it is to be a leader, but after doing these courses, I didn't really know. So I learned about that, and learning within myself, and there was a course also I did with Rachel Hollis, and that was about reaching goals, entrepreneurship, and mentors and relationships, because I'm also a mentor to incarcerated women. And I also have an admin business that I help small businesses and things. So the mentor course was very important because it helped me learn about relationships and mentoring to others, and how mentoring affects others, how to be a good mentor, and what relationships you experience when you're dealing with the mentor relationship as opposed to coaching, because I'm a certified life coach also. And I did take a thinking course, which reminds you of how to clear thinking, thinking outside the box and things like that. So these courses were really beneficial to me. And I know in the future I'll be able to use them in my work, life coaching, and as I move forward with my leadership skills and helping people in the community.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to continue to follow the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Victor, I'd like to ask you, you have a degree in science and public health, is that correct?
Yes, I graduated cum laude from DePaul University in Chicago with a bachelor's degree in science and a concentration in public health.
Okay. And I know that you have an interest in running for office, and I'd love to hear why you think it's important for people with disabilities to hold decision-making positions.
Sure. I absolutely believe that one of our guests, Lou Tisha, mentioned that it's nice to have a seat at the table, but having a seat at the table doesn't mean anything unless you have something to say when it's your turn, or if you need to speak up and make it your turn and make yourself heard. So I think that people with disabilities in particular need to be at the table, they need to have a voice, and they need to be in a position where they can be heard by people who don't understand our position, what we're going through, or how we live our lives day to day. It's very difficult for a man to understand what a woman goes through on a daily basis. And it's very difficult for a person of color to understand what life would be like as a Caucasian, or vice versa. And it's the same for people with disabilities. The people who are able-bodied probably cannot or really have difficulty envisioning everything that goes into our daily lives, because there are so many different forms of disabilities, and there are so many stories that people have and so many lives that people live that are different from one another, that it's kind of hard to fathom how we would actually bring all that information to the table and get everyone everything that they need. But having a foot in the door and having a seat at the table and speaking up and making our voices heard by the people in power is a good start.
Awesome, thank you. Butch, we see that you have a friend with you.
This is my friend Boris. Kind of outdid myself there. He's about 3 foot tall. That's what I could do with balloons if I just had the time. But when I'm not doing balloons, I am the co-chair and co-leader of a statewide disability rights activist group called Georgia Adapt. And basically, I go around the state teaching groups of disabled folks how to organize nonviolent civil disobedience protests, very much in the philosophy of Dr. King. In fact, thanks to my co-chair, Zan Thornton, and Backbones, I was able to attend a series of seminars with the King Center here in Atlanta, where we learned the principles of King's beloved community, how to eradicate racism and cultural sensitivity.
Awesome. Can you talk a little bit about, I know you mentioned how the self-care portion of our program sort of helped you during this time that you couldn't be out there and protesting and doing all that stuff.
So before I elaborate on how much I learned about that, I should probably inform everyone that I was actually in the emergency room with a seizure yesterday.
Yes.
And yet here we still are, because this was a year in the making to be here with everybody here tonight, and I just couldn't miss it. But beyond that, yeah, that evidently I am sometimes too stubborn for my own good, and sometimes I need to learn to stop and take care of myself in order to do the job.
Wonderful. Yeah, this is something that we all had to take a look at ourselves and make sure to take care of ourselves. Thank you all for answering those questions. I'd like to invite Dr. Feremi Okalami to join us, and I'm going to ask it for the rest of you to turn your cameras off again. And we have, there we go.
Can y'all see me?
Yes, Dr. O is joining us from the University of Michigan. He is a person with a spinal cord injury. He's also a physician and director of diversity and inclusion, and was also one of the ambassadors for Backbones a few years ago, and was really great at giving us feedback. And this program, like I said earlier, came out of that ambassador program. Thank you for joining us, and I'd love to hear what you have to say to our leaders today, Feremi.
No, so thank you so much, Rebecca, for having me here. As Rebecca said, we go back a ways now through Backbones, through Real Abilities Film Festival, through Chicago and the spinal cord injury community. So I appreciate this opportunity. I'm calling you guys from the middle of wheelchair tennis practice. So one of the things that I do now is I'm the director of adaptive sports and fitness here at the University of Michigan, as well as an assistant professor of family medicine, physical medicine and rehabilitation and urology, and then the interim director of services for students with disabilities at the University of Michigan. I also am the disabilities issues representative to the group on diversity and inclusion at the Association of American Medical Colleges, and I'm on the Council for Medical Legislation at the National Medical Association. I also have a partnership with a group called Guardian Life Insurance Company of America and our Equal and Able campaign to demonstrate that disability is not inability. So, I really just wanted to show you all that. I've been 7 years now in the spinal cord injury community. Prior to that, I was an academic All-American athlete at Stanford Medical School here, and then orthopedic surgery at Yale. And that's when I had my C6 incomplete spinal cord injury. And, the one point that I'll bring up, since everyone's been doing wonderful things and talking about, advocacy and leadership, is that, there are a lot of things that don't exist for individuals with disabilities and specifically spinal cord injuries. And it's not right. It's in fact illegal. And one of the things that I recognized was that they don't have equal opportunities and access to physical fitness for those of us living with spinal cord injuries. And so what my goal has been here at Michigan is to actually create that equal access for everyone. And as a physician, as an athlete, and then now as the director of our disabilities office at the institution, we're demonstrating that. And so what you see behind me is our tennis practice, where we've got individuals ranging from spina bifida to amputations and spinal cord injuries who are getting an education here at the University of Michigan and also being able to play their sport. So, I tell people that you can't be all things to all people at all times, but each of us has an opportunity and ability to then make a difference in whatever way that we set our mind to. And, my catchphrase is disabusing disability, to demonstrate that disability is not inability. And really, we are all able to do that. And I know that this world is not built accessible for us. And it's unfortunately going to take, people like Rebecca and Blake and all the people on this call to continue being exemplars of what it is that individuals living with disabilities can actually do. And so you don't have to be the director of a program to be a leader. You don't have to be in public office to be a leader. You can lead even in your own small community by showing people that even though you may have a disability, even if you have a spinal cord injury, that does not then dictate what impact you can have on this world. And while the structures are not necessarily in place all the time for us, we are some of the most resilient bunch I've ever met, and creative and innovative and entrepreneurial, in order to then find ways around the barriers that are put up in our lives. So I just want to encourage you all to know that it's not always easy, and quite often it's actually much harder than it is for others, but that is not enough of a reason to then keep us down, right? So don't allow sort of the ableist mentality of our world, and quite frankly every other ist and ism that exists, from racism to sexism to ableism. Do not let that dictate what it is that the mark you hope to leave, and just find your niche and then do your best to make that difference wherever you are. And like I said, it doesn't have to be something that is Billboard Top 100 or getting New York Times recognition, but if you change the community in which you are in by making a difference, even if that difference is just demonstrating that you're not going to be kept down and you're going to be active and involved in doing whatever you can, then that is being a leader. So be a leader in whatever way it is that you set your mind to, and do not let anybody else dictate what life you plan to lead. So thank you all for allowing me to join. I'm going to get back to tennis practice. Everybody say hi, Backbones.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us, and say hello to all your athletes. Thank you.
Oh, and I got to say a big heads up to James Murtha, because James Murtha was an individual who I met out here, connected with him here. So thanks, James, for all the work that you're continuing to do. Good to see you, my man. Take care, everybody.
See you too. Go have some fun.
Later, Murph. Go blue.
Go blue, baby.
Bye.
All right, I'd like to introduce Brooke McCall from United Spinal. She was one of our speakers as well. And I think you are leader of the Tech Access program, right? I would like you share a little bit about that and your message to our leaders.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. As Rebecca said, I am Brooke McCall. I am the director of United Spinal Association's Tech Access Initiative and a proud member of the Backbones family. I am a blonde, white, cisgendered woman with glasses and an emerald green scarf that I can honestly say wasn't well thought out. When I put it on, I was a little chilly, and now I'm really hot. So hopefully I don't pass out. In reality, Rebecca brought the idea of this leadership program to me in the long time ago, last year, I think mid-year, and I was really delighted to hear she was creating the kind of program that I was personally looking for the first 10, 12 years of my spinal cord injury life. I was always really looking for other folks who wanted to have big impact and looking for mentors, and it was hard to find. At that time, I was running United Spinal Association's Grassroots Advocacy Network, a platform really meant to unite our members from across the nation as a collective voice in impacting the legislative issues that affect us most. Now I'm working in the tech space, which has been wonderfully unique and rewarding, but it kind of falls under the same guise. Our voice matters both legislatively and in the consumer space. We are powerful customers and our needs are unique, and people are hungry to hear our perspective. So I was lucky enough to spend an evening way back in March with you wonderful group of leaders. And I'll be honest, it was a little bit funny to be teaching advocacy as Jen Wolf, one of my advocacy role models, was already leading the group. I wanted to kind of sit back with everybody and ask her questions, but thank you for the opportunity. I can say that in my life early on, the only way I really thought I was kind of ignited to make change after experiencing what it's like to be a patient. So I went back to school, I got an MPH from a fancy university, and I then did a post-grad leadership education neurodevelopmental fellowship. And I thought that might make me a leader, and it didn't. What did make me a leader was the fact that moved me to Portland, Oregon, and I was introduced by my one coworker who was in a wheelchair I was invited to a night of networking for diversity, and I met another wheelchair user there who introduced me to another wheelchair user, and I joined the local chapter. And oddly enough, every single person asked me if I knew Rebecca, who at that time I did not. And because our thoughts align so nicely. But they are who made me a leader. They invited me to events and allowed me, opened up opportunities for me to meet people who elevated my voice and who believed in me and said, hey, I want you to speak in front of hundreds of people. And, it's not naturally my something that I was looking to do, but when somebody offered me those opportunities, I said, well, they believe in me, and turns out I could do it. And I can just, I have so much respect for anyone who's able to do that. So my advice to you is, when somebody presents you with an opportunity, make sure you take it, show up, and understand that the power of your voice, it's huge today. Like I said before, people are hungry for it. It doesn't matter how smart an engineer is looking to recreate our user experience. They really can't do it. They need to hear from us. We're all different, and they want to hear that. So it doesn't matter what you're interested in, just find your way, get yourself to the table, show up, share how people can help you. It really matters. People want to know, and that means other people will be able to more easily access that space as well. So, and then obviously when you become a leader, make sure you're listening to others' diverse perspective. We don't want to speak for everybody. I never want to do that. And it's just such a unique opportunity to also get to invite other people to the table and make sure they're being heard alongside you. So I hope to work with all of you in the future, and good luck.
Thank you, Brooke. We appreciate you joining us today. Our last set of participants, Andrew, Kenneth, and James, if you could please join us. And I know that you wanted to share a message to the future cohorts, and take it away.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Tristan, for captioning all this, and James and Kenneth for joining us. My name is Andrew Lewis. I live in Denver, Colorado. Currently coming to you from Bradenton, Florida. Being able to stay here with my beautiful wife, Alyssa, who's also here with me. And I'm excited to be part of this leadership journey within this COVID state of life, because this program provides me that platform, a voice, support, ability to reach all sorts of folks all over the country, really all over the world. My hopes and dreams and abilities that I've learned from this process is to be able to provide, hopefully, a fitness facility within my community. Thank you, shout out to Dr. O for having that platform and giving that kind of hope. Mine is similar in that I want to have something that everyone in the community can enjoy. Also, as a leadership, as a leader in my community, I've been working to develop relationships with the local, state, and county offices, and be an advocate for a multimodal mobility across the streets and sidewalk systems. I want to partner with my buddies and people in my neighborhood to help everybody be safe and be able to get around without having barriers, even within, like I said, this COVID life keeps us home. So being able to get out and enjoy life, I think, is extremely important. I'd also like to introduce Kenneth and James. Kenneth is has his own radio show, and I know James is an active speaker within his community. Kenneth, can you share something about how leadership's speaking to you?
All right, thank you, Andrew. Thank you for giving me an introduction. My name is Kenneth Jennings. I live out of Chicago. I was injured 32 years ago while playing high school football. Broke my neck and shattered my third and fourth vertebra, rendered me a quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down. I want to speak to you about Backbones, from how it's been a part of my life and the great things that I've learned from it. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for everybody if you want to be a part of this. I understand 2020 has been a challenging year for everyone, to say the least, but it has not been without its highlights. I would like to share with you about the amazing experience I've been having as a member of Backbone's leadership program. In this program, I've been learning about disability rights, my own intersectionality between being a Black man with a disability and how that shaped the way I move around and impact my advocacy. It teaches you about disability inclusion, accessibility, and social media spaces. These are some of the wonderful things about Backbone Leadership Program. It's an amazing opportunity and experience for energetic, aspiring leaders with disabilities. Be it visible or invisible, what your disability is. Acquired doing doesn't matter. If you are passionate about making changes and stepping into your leadership ability, this is a great opportunity for you to be a part of this on the next class. Long term, they give you access to wonderful groups of speakers, change agents that will help you reach your community goals and aspirations. You will learn about disability rights and leadership skills. This will give you opportunity to be a part of a community of amazing thought leaders and change agents within the disability community. This is you, and you are a positive disruptor. And this is something you're interested in and being a part of a 2021 class. You can go to backbonesonline.com to fill out that when the new class already started 2021. And for myself, my future through Backbones has changed my path in life as a leader. Because of Backbones, my foundation is running more efficiently. My foundation is Gridiron Alliance. It helps high school athletes get catastrophically injured, which allows me to finish my ability to get the law passed across the country. Because I'm currently working on getting a law passed across the country to get catastrophically injured insurance for high school athletes. My fundraising skills have gotten better at an alarming rate. I'm working with new companies named Neuralink. That's one of the cutting edges of technology. My skills as a motivational speaker have improved tremendously. I have become part of an excellent foundation that has changed laws for people with disabilities. But I help feed the homeless and help find clothes for the homeless. You know how they say when you enjoy what you're doing, you never work a day in your life? Well, this is me not working. Thank you.
Well spoken, Kenneth. Thank you. James, can you share a little bit?
Yeah, I'd love to. So hello, everybody. I'm James. Preferred pronouns, he, him, his, and I'm in Tawas City, Michigan right now in the Lower Peninsula, coast of Lake Huron. And I am a white Caucasian male, 31, clean shaven mostly, shortish curly hair with some sports memorabilia behind me. And I got a jacket wrapped around with the sleeves wrapped around my neck. And my girlfriend who's in the audience says I look like a hobbit whenever I have this look going. So yeah, Kenneth, that was awesome.
Thank you.
You're going to make all sorts of waves. And so to go off that sentiment, like my big hope for the future for this group is that more and more people choose to join this leadership class, this leadership cohort, and for 2021 and then beyond that, and that everybody who does join makes waves within their own community. And like Dr. O was saying, you know, you don't have to be somebody with a like a megaphone leading a troop of protesters. You don't have to be in front of the United States Congress, like behind a microphone pitching a policy, like, you know, just showing up day to day and just living your life, like doing that is being a leader, like showing other people that, you know, you're moving on, you're living with your life the way you want to. And so if you're considering this class and you're intimidated about the idea of leadership, like Dr. O was saying, don't be, you know, like think about the contributions that you can make, because they all matter, and everything makes a ripple, like for better or worse. And if you can do something positive, it'll add up over time with the grand picture, with the grand scheme of things. And so my hope is that Backbones can keep providing people with that opportunity, and that we can just keep making positive differences and positive changes and just make the world a little bit better than we found it. And I thank Rebecca for starting this and leading such a robust organization and making some waves. And so with that, I'll turn it over.
Well spoken, James. Thank you. And Rebecca and Jen, this platform you guys have provided for us is so incredibly helpful, because it teaches us pivotal skills that are going to be able to support us with all of our dreams and hopes, whichever way that might lead us. And also shout out to Steve Wesselhoff for being a support and nominating me to be a part of this program this year. So thank you very much. I'd like to pass it on now to Kebra. She is a very impressive speaker coming to you, and she wants to grace us with her song, Beautiful.
Hi again, I'm Kebra Moore. As I stated earlier, I do have a spinal cord injury, T12 incomplete. I went to Claflin University, which is in South Carolina, and music education. I taught music for a couple of years before I had my car accident. And then right now I'm in the classroom. I don't teach music, I just teach regular school. So my video is entitled Beautiful, and I wrote the song mainly because as someone with a disability, as I stated earlier, people assume things about you, and I just wanted people to know that you're beautiful no matter who you are, because God created you in your own image. And I hope you guys enjoy the song. I wrote the song, and so I hope you guys enjoy it.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. Looking in the mirror, I don't see what you see. No, pointing out everything that society say about me. My skin's too light and my nose is right and my body's too wide, and I don't understand why people judging me before they get to know me. Read Romans 2 and 3 and God said to thee, thy shouldn't pass judgment on me. So I'm not gonna let it bring me down no more, 'cause I am so beautiful, beautiful. Now I know I am. I'm a child of God. Nothing you can do, nothing you can say to change the fact that I am beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now I know I am. God created me. Nothing you can do, nothing you can say to change the fact that I am beautiful. God created me in His own image, yeah. So painful words don't make my beauty diminish. So my skin is right, yeah. My nose is right, yeah. My body's fine, yeah. I don't care to know why people judge me. Hebrews 3:13, and God said to me to encourage thee daily. I finally see, so I'm not gonna let it bring me down no more, 'cause I am so beautiful, beautiful. Now I know I am. I'm a child of God. Nothing you can do, nothing you can say to change the fact that I am beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now I know I am. God created me. Nothing you can do, nothing you can say to change the fact that I am beautiful. Look at me, I'm smiling again. Look at me, I'm worshiping. Look at me, I'm praying again. I'm beautiful. Look at me, me, I'm singing again. Look at me, I'm dancing again. Look at me, I can finally say I'm beautiful. Look at me, I got confidence. Look at me, my self-esteem. Look at me, no more worrying. I'm beautiful. Look at me, I'm believing again. Look at me, no more crying. Because I am so beautiful. Always remember that. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this event. I'm trying to remove spotlights and everything. Oh, here I am. Okay. Thank you again for joining us. I hope that if you are interested in the Leaders Program, join or go to our website, www.backbonesonline.com, and the application for the 2021 cohort is now live. So please apply if you're interested in joining the program, and we hope you enjoyed the evening. Have a wonderful night. And if everyone else wants to pop back on and say wave goodbye, please feel free to.
Goodbye, good night, goodbye, God bless, and everyone stay safe.
Thank you all for taking the time to come and listen to our online events. Goodbye and good luck.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Everyone for joining. Take care, everybody.
Yes,
Stay
thank
safe.
you.